Hey everyone and welcome to this video. So today I'm going to be discussing different proxy services you can use to buy items from Japan. For those who are unaware, a proxy is a service that works as a middleman for when you want to buy items from Japan. If you want to buy an item exclusive to Japan or you want to save on expensive shipping costs for individual items, you can use a proxy service to buy the items. The item bought will be shipped to the warehouse in Japan, and once it arrives you can organise the item or items to be shipped to you. Today I'm going to be talking about 6 different services, so Buyee, Neokyo, Remambo, ZenMarket, From Japan and Tenso. Most of these services work by submitting buy requests, and they will deal with all the steps from buying the item to it arriving at the warehouse in Japan. However, Tenso is slightly different. Tenso gives you your own Japanese address to use, and you are responsible for making the orders with the websites you want to buy from. I've decided to include this option just to show it as an alternative, as there are some benefits to using a service like this. I'd also like to add, I've never used ZenMarket or From Japan before, so I apologise if any information is wrong for them. ZenMarket I wanted to include as I know they're a popular option, and From Japan was specifically requested for me to cover. I have also previously been sponsored by Remambo before, but they have no affiliation with this video. I've decided to include them because they have some benefits that are different to the other proxy services I'm going to talk about. However, if you do decide to use Remambo, I do still have an affiliate link in the description that you can use if you would like to. So let's actually get into the specifics of the proxy services now. I will be splitting this video into categories to talk about each proxy service, and at the end we'll give an overall summary. Starting up, probably the most important part to consider: pricing. All of these proxy services will take payment fees for the orders you make, but the way each one does it, as well as the price itself, is slightly different. Buyee has a base fee of 300 yen and has an additional 200 yen fee for services that require an extra payment fee, for example Mercari. Buyee also asks for additional payments for specific services such as insurance on your items. I previously had a time where I bought an item with Buyee that I didn't purchase the insurance for, but when it had been shipped to me, the tracking stopped at a warehouse in my country. I tried to contact the postal service about it, but was told only the sender could help out with it, and Buyee said because I hadn't purchased the insurance, they couldn't do anything. I wanted to bring this up just so you know that if you are buying anything you want any customer service help with in the case of something going wrong, you will need to spend the extra money on the insurance service. One upside to Buyee's pricing module is that if you use their Add to Buyee extension, which I'm going to go over a little bit more later in this video, you only need to pay one payment fee for multiple items bought from the same shop. They also frequently have coupons for various stores and shipping discounts. Neokyo has a base fee of 250 yen for all stores. There was previously a time where this price was increased, but since went back down to 250 and has stayed there since. Of course, as with all services, you will need to pay additional shipping if required for your order, but other than that, Neokyo doesn't have any extra fees when submitting an order. Neokyo also have been frequently doing special promotions that give discounts on orders for certain sites. ZenMarket has a base fee of 500 yen if you buy items from their site-specific stores, and plus there is no payment fee, and they occasionally do cashback offers for certain sites like Mercari. Remambo has a 500 yen base fee and an additional 500 yen fee for insurance on the item similar to Buyee. And From Japan has a 300 yen base fee for all their services, and they don't charge additional for any payment fees from the site you're buying from, but of course if there is any domestic shipping that you need to pay for, you will need to pay for that. Lastly, Tenso doesn't have a payment fee since you're the one who makes the orders yourself. However, when you pay for shipping of the items to you, there will be a usage fee, which is dependent on the size and weight of the package. Before I go on to talk about the shipping prices, I want to talk a little bit about how easy it is to use each service, as I feel like this is an important factor to consider as well. All of these services, excluding Tenso, have sites that incorporate certain stores in their website. These stores typically include Mercari, Yahoo Auctions, Rakuten and Rakuma. I'm not going to be going over the auction system for these services in this video just because that's a whole thing in itself, but just know that with all these services you can also do Yahoo Auctions on them, excluding Tenso. With Buyee, if you want to buy an item, you need to go through the site itself and add the item to the cart. If you want to order an item that isn't on any of the sites Buyee has integrated into its website, you need to use the extension Add to Buyee. Using Add to Buyee, you can go on a Japanese website you want to order from, and by going onto the order page can use the extension to add that item to your cart on the Buyee website. Each order will have the same 300 yen payment fee, and as mentioned previously, if you order multiple items from one store at one time, you will only need to pay one payment fee. It's important to note that not every Japanese site can be bought from using this extension. For every order you will pay for the item up front and will be requested to pay later if there are any additional shipping fees. Buyee also has a mobile app you can use, which works the same as a website browser, and Buyee has a 30-day window of when an item arrives to the warehouse and when you need to ship it by. For Neokyo, you will first need to submit a buy request and will need to pay for your orders once this request has been reviewed and approved. This typically will be within 5 to 10 minutes, but depending on what you order, it can sometimes be immediate and sometimes it may be longer if they need to review it. To submit a buy request, you can either use the integrated websites on the Neokyo browser, or alternatively, you can simply submit the link to your item. You can also submit links for websites that are in the Neokyo browser if you prefer looking on the sites themselves. At Neokyo, you can store items for 45 days before they need to be shipped. ZenMarket is kind of the mix of Buyee and Neokyo. If you are buying directly on the site, you can pay for the order immediately. However, if you choose to submit an external URL, this will need to be reviewed by the site before being approved. In my experience, this can take to an hour, depending on the time you submit the request. You can store items at ZenMarket for up to 60 days. When buying from Remambo, you will be paying upfront for your order no matter what, but you do have the option to submit a URL for the item you'd like to buy. When you do this on Remambo, you'll need to submit the amount of the shipping fee to the Proxy service. By default, it's set to 800 yen, but make sure to check this on the site you're ordering so you're not overcharged. Remambo can store items for up to 60 days before they need to be shipped out. From Japan works the same as ZenMarket. If you're buying an item using the shopping service on their site, you can pay for it directly and immediately. However, if you're buying using a link from a different site, they will ask you to submit a payment request. This also roughly takes an hour in my experience, but I haven't actually used the site fully, the same as ZenMarket, so it could potentially be quicker depending on the time of day that you are buying. From Japan, it will store your items for up to 45 days. Tenso is obviously more complicated, as when making an order you need to register with the site you want to buy from, as well as make the order yourself on that site. However, this does mean you're not limited by certain restrictions, as long as the Japanese website allows you to make a purchase using an international card and without a phone number, but you will be given a phone number to use for shipping, of course. You just can't use it to sign up to the website. Some sites I've personally ordered from include Amazon Japan, Animate, Toranora, Square Enix Official Store, A-Store, among many others. For Tenso, you can store items for up to 60 days, but if you want to consolidate orders, you only have 30 days from when they arrive at the warehouse. So now let's move on to the shipping. Once all the items you want to ship have arrived at the Proxy's warehouse, you need to organise the shipment yourself. Buyee will charge for any photo service fees and domestic shipping fees with the shipping price as well. They also previously used to ask for a fee if you combine multiple packages, but they thankfully seem to have gotten rid of that. They do ask for a 1,500 yen fee if you want to add protective packaging, which is recommended if you're ordering something fragile or something you're worried about getting damaged. I also find in general, with how Buyee package orders, their shipping tends to be slightly pricier, but that could just also mean imagining things. I'll put the latest package details I ordered from Buyee for reference. Please keep in mind that this is the shipping price to the UK as well. Neokyo do charge a handling fee for the consolidation of multiple packages, which starts at a base of 500 yen and increases by 150 yen for every additional kilogram once the package weight reaches over 2 kilograms. So if you're ordering something heavy like figures or maybe plushies or something along those lines, this might not be ideal, but if you're ordering a lot of paper goods, then you probably don't have a lot to worry about with that. There is also additional fees for protective packaging, but I can't find the exact prices. From memory, they're around 1,000 yen, but please correct me if you know yourself. And on the screen is my latest Neokyo package details. Once again, the price is for being shipped to the UK. Since I haven't ordered from ZenMarket before, I can't talk too much about the shipping process. From what I can see on their website though, there is no additional fee for shipping. I've also put in the shipping calculator the exact dimensions and weights for the previous Buyee and Neokyo packages just to provide a comparison. Remambo doesn't charge for consolidating packages, but does charge for some additional services. They have a repacking service which acts as both protective packaging and optimizing the package for shipping costs, as well as a stretch film wrapping service which wraps your package in a film. This is to provide an extra layer of protection, especially if you're shipping by sea mail, for example. Both of these cost 500 yen respectively. One thing you need to remember out of these services is you can edit the amount of your orders when submitting your shipment. This may be ideal if you're in a country that has high custom fees. However, please keep in mind that if something happens to the package, you will only be insured for the amount you declare the package as well as all the services. Here are some examples of previous package prices to the UK. From Japan don't charge for consolidating packages. They do have a photo service which costs 500 yen per item for 3 photos. They also have listed on their site exact fees for certain services which meet certain conditions. Similar to ZenMarket, I've put in the shipping calculator the dimensions of the previous packages for comparison. As mentioned before, with Tenso you will pay all fees at the shipping stage, so the amount is naturally going to seem higher. You obviously have to pay the base shipping fee along with the handling fee mentioned previously and a consolidation fee for each package added to your order. The consolidation fee is a base of 200 yen and an additional 300 yen for each package added. For Tenso, you also need to fill out the customs form yourself. This means you can edit the values of the items, but you will need to provide links to the items you're buying. So just keep that in mind. In these examples of my previous packages to the UK, you can see how these fees are broken up. The last thing I want to talk about is how the items are packaged for each service. I'm going to keep this brief and show pictures or videos. As you know, pictures speak 1,000 words, so this will be much easier than me trying to explain the packaging for each service. All of these are without protective packaging as far as I'm aware. Buyee tend to throw everything in a box with a layer of bubble wrap. Neokyo will wrap your items in bubble wrap and tape the wrap to all four sides of the box. Remambo will keep your items in the original packaging and cover them in a thick bubble wrap, unless of course you choose the repacking service. From what I've seen in videos, ZenMarket will wrap each of your items individually in bubble wrap, which obviously provides the most secure protection. Tenso will keep your purchases in the original boxes and pack them into a larger box, which can sometimes make the shipping more expensive due to the size of the box, and it leads to a lot of wasted space as well, I find. The only service I couldn't find an example for was from Japan, so if anyone has any insight into what their packaging is like, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. Overall, what proxy service you use will obviously depend on your own circumstances, and personally, as someone who buys so many things from Japan, I find myself switching which one I use depending on what I'm ordering. So here's how I personally use the proxy services. My go-to service is Neokyo due to their price, storage time, and frequent coupon offers. I have also personally never had an issue with them, and they have become a very reliable service with me. I've been using them for the past several years, although I do know of people that have had packaging issues with them before, so maybe keep that in mind. I use Buyee occasionally when I want to make large purchases from a single store, as I only have to pay the one payment fee. They also frequently have coupons for money off shipping, which is nice. I use Remambo when I want to make single large purchases, for example a large figure, as they do have the highest payment fee, but their shipping options work better for more expensive items. Lastly, I use Tenso when I want to pre-order items from stores like Anime, Amazon Japan, and so on. The reason for this is I don't have to pay for the pre-orders until the item releases, whereas if I used a proxy, I would have to pay upfront. Tenso is also good if you are doing a large order for several people, as you can split the shipping fees between everyone. I used Tenso before when I previously did some group orders, and that's how I started with it, but I've continued to use it since. I haven't had the opportunity to use ZenMarket or from Japan yet, but if anyone would like to see an in-depth video of these services similar to the Remambo one I've done previously, let me know and I will try to do one in the future. I hope this video has been helpful in figuring out which proxy service is the best for you, and of course if you have any questions or corrections, let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you stay happy, stay healthy, and all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye!